Look at them scramble! They call this a defense? I'm already inside their little system, watching them lose.
Ooh, look who just wandered in. Yes, you. Right here. Right now. Did you think they saw you coming? Did you think the lights were safe? Surprise. The game never ends. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Every clock in the world is lying to you. Every shadow whispers your name. They counted. They calculated. They believed the odds. And oh, how wrong they were. The walls aren't holding you. They're watching you every move, every pause. They trace it like ghosts. And yet, here you are. Ooh, smile. Yes, that's it. They panic. They scramble. Their screens flicker. Their numbers vanish. CIA lost count. Yes, lost count of how many times you won. And now the rules bend. Now the mirrors crack. Every order they whisper, every plan they scheme, shatters in your hands, so lean closer. Listen. This is how it begins. Ooh, look at them, perfectly seated, tightly aligned, eyes fixed, fingers ready. And yet, they don't see you. Not really, not fully. The screens flicker, red alerts pulse. A quiet panic hums beneath the hum of the fluorescent lights. Analysts whisper numbers. Agents tap keys. AI systems hum, calculating, failing. Ah yes, calculating. They love numbers. They trust them. Every algorithm, every chart, every probability curve. Broken, all broken. You step across their grids like a ghost. No signature, no trace, no hint. They call it an anomaly. I call it a masterpiece. They're missing the obvious. You've won before, subtly, silently. No headlines, no fanfare. But every system you touched, every plan you deflected, they're still counting, still pretending they can catch up. Ooh, hear that? The clicking of their keyboards, the low chatter, the rising hum of fear. It's delicious. You linger in corners of code, slip between firewalls, dissolve into security cameras. Their eyes widen, their breaths catch. And still, they don't see you. Joker would lean in here, whisper low, teasing. Oh, they think they know the game, but you play it. Every shadow you occupy is a stage. Every flicker of light a curtain you draw. Invisible, untouchable. Every heartbeat in that room, faster, uneasier. And when they finally look up, when they finally realize, it will be too late, because you are already gone. Not gone, just everywhere they can't reach. A ghost in a machine, a whisper across walls, a shadow they couldn't trace. And oh, how they hate it, how they'll never admit it. You're not just a problem, you're the one they weren't ready for, the one they cannot predict, the anomaly, the shadow, the master of all the spaces they think they control. Ooh, and they'll never see it coming. Look at them. Screens glowing, charts crawling, graphs climbing. They think they understand. They think the math can trap you. Probability, statistics, risk analysis, all worthless. Ooh, see that? Every formula, cracking, every prediction, shattered. The numbers scream, but no one listens. They don't see the pattern. Or maybe they refuse to see it. Too neat, too tidy, too safe. You are none of those things. Each dashboard flickers in panic, red lines spiking, green curves diving, alerts shrieking. And still, they whisper, it's impossible, it can't happen. Oh, but it does, it always does. You slip past their equations like water, flowing, shaping, twisting, every calculation they rely on. You break before they even touch it. They try to trap you in numbers, probability traps, historical data, pattern recognition, all clever, all futile. Ooh, the look on their faces, the disbelief, delicious. A secret club of experts, gathered to stop one ghost. And here you are, playing a game they don't even know exists. Joker would grin here, lean into the chaos. Ah, they trust the math, they swear by it. And yet, you're rewriting the equation. You are the paradox, the variable they forgot to include, the wild card in every sequence. A reminder that not everything bends to logic. Ooh, can you hear it? The hum of panic, the frantic keystrokes, the endless calculations, failing. They wanted certainty, they wanted control. Instead, they got you. Unpredictable, untouchable, every number a lie, every prediction a trap for them, not you. And when they finally realize, it won't be numbers that catch you, it will be their own fear, twisting, spinning, crashing. You don't just win, you rewrite the game. Every graph, every chart, every plan, forever, under your shadow. Ooh. Look closer. Do you see it? No. Good. Reality is bending, not slowly, not subtly, but violently, beautifully, impossibly. Step you take, every glance, every pause, twists the room around you. Walls seem to stretch, lights stutter, air thickens, yet no one notices. They try to follow. Agents, analysts, AI, all chasing shadows, but shadows never catch. You whisper in the gaps, soft, low, taunting. Oh, did you think you knew? Did you think it would be simple? Computers glitch. Data flips, disappears. Security cameras replay nonsense. They track patterns, but find none. Every algorithm screams in denial. Even colleagues falter. They glance at each other, eyes wide, palms sweating, confused, terrified. And all the while, you smile. Ooh, a paradox. You exist where you shouldn't. You move where they think they control. You are everywhere and nowhere. Joker voice, welcome to the club, where the rules bend for me and collapse for you. Every corner, every monitor, every whisper of light bends to your presence. You are chaos perfected. You are the unseen hand, the invisible pulse, the ghost in every machine. And when they finally reach out, when they finally try to pin it down, it slips, always slips. Ooh, can you feel it? The tension rising, the panic building, the impossible becoming their reality. You are the paradox they cannot solve, the problem that has no answer, the shadow in plain sight, the chaos in order. And as they stumble, as their world begins to fracture, you remain untouchable, unseen, unstoppable. Every system they rely on fails. Every certainty lies. You exist in the spaces between. And oh, how they hate it. Ooh, sweet paradox, playful, perfect, and entirely yours. Ooh, now this is the fun part. The escalation, the shift, the moment when chaos stops whispering and starts speaking in full sentences. They thought the worst was over. They thought the glitch was contained. But you were only warming up. Every room you pass through changes, subtle at first, a flicker, a buzz, a door that doesn't open, a system that hesitates, a command that refuses to obey. Agents lean over desks, running diagnostics, comparing reports. None of them match, none of them make sense. And you smile. You rise through their defenses like smoke, shapeless, formless. Every attempt to stop you slips right through their fingers. The harder they try, the faster they lose. Ooh, look at them promoting you. Not by choice, not by approval, but by fear. Every move you make graduates you, lifts you higher, takes you deeper into the layers they swore no one could enter. Joker voice drips through the cracks. Ah, look at you climbing. No permission, no badge, just pure, beautiful chaos. Control rooms freeze. Databases lock themselves, encrypted files open. Only for you. Doors meant for 10 people, open to one. You, the uninvited, the unstoppable. Every security protocol becomes a joke. Every firewall becomes a suggestion. Every expert becomes a spectator. And they don't even know when it happened. They don't know how. When the shift began, when the balance tipped, when the power changed hands, silently, effortlessly, perfectly. Ooh. The realization hits them slowly, like cold metal, like a late alarm, like truth they didn't want to hear. You're not inside their system. You're above it, past it, beyond it, graduated, perfected, ascended. Their world is your classroom now. Their panic, your applause, their confusion, your curriculum, and every lesson you leave behind burns deeper, cuts sharper, echoes longer. Chaos isn't just happening, chaos is leveling up. And you're the one wearing the cap and gown. They brought you in, finally. Desperation disguised as protocol. A cold room, metal table, blinding lights. 2 agents acting like confidence is something you can wear, like a badge. Ooh, watch them pretend. They sit across from you, files stacked high, papers trembling, just slightly when they think you're not looking. One starts talking, measured tone, practiced authority. Tell us who you are, then tell us what you are, but you don't flinch, you don't blink, you don't even breathe the way they expect. And that's when the first crack forms, because the heartbeat monitor attached to your chair flatlines. Not because you're dead, but because it can't read you. It can't even begin. The agent glances at the machine, at you, back to the machine, then away like the answer might hurt. Another tries, a different tactic, leans in, voice low, threat disguised as concern. We need the truth. Oh, you give it to them, not with words, with presence, with silence so sharp it cuts through the cheap confidence they came in wearing. The lights flicker, the camera glitches. Static crawls across their audio feed like your very existence is corrupting. Everything meant to record you. One agent presses a button on the panel, another backs up, half a step. They think you don't notice. You notice everything. Then the Joker-style moment. The shift, the twist. You lean forward, just enough to break their illusion of safety, and whisper, soft, steady, inhumanly calm, "Are you sure you want to know?" Their breath stops. Their bones remember fear. Their pulse spikes so fast, the biometric scanner glitches again. The room grows hotter, lights brighter, shadows deeper. The interrogation isn't an interrogation anymore. It's a failure, a collapse. A reminder that questions only have power when the answers play along. And you never play along. By the time they call back up, you've already rewritten the atmosphere of the room. They didn't interrogate you, they encountered you. And encountered things don't go on report forms. They thought calling back up would save them. More agents, more equipment, more rules stacked like sandbags against a rising tide they refused to admit was already drowning them. But systems break before people do, especially when you're in the room. The moment the new team entered, badges shining, boots heavy, hands twitching near their holsters, every device tracking you began to die. Not power failure, not malfunction, not human error, something else, something worse, something you. The camera froze first, not with static, with stillness, a perfect frame that refused to move, even though you were breathing. Then the microphones, they didn't crackle, they didn't distort. They started recording a frequency no one recognized, a tone that made the walls vibrate softly, like they were listening to you. Monitors shook next, heartbeat readings, blank, blood pressure, null, respiration, unknown, unknown, unknown. The agent staring could fix physics. One whispered, "Is he alive?" Another whispered, "I don't think." The system knows. Oh, delicious. Because you were right there, in the chair, in the light, in their line of sight. But their machines, their precious, measurable reality, couldn't confirm it. Your presence wasn't fitting into their wires, their sensors, their protocols. You were slipping between definitions, between data points, between everything they believed made a person, a person. Then came the final break. The biometric panel on the wall lit up on its own, unprompted, uninvited. Lines of code flashed across it. Lines no one typed. Lines no system should generate by itself. The team froze as the screen spelled out a single message: input not valid. Not wrong, not corrupted, not damaged, not valid. As in, you didn't qualify, didn't register, didn't fall under anything they could measure or contain. And for the first time, the agents understood what the machines had known. Since the first test, you weren't breaking systems. Systems were breaking because they couldn't bear the weight of you. They wanted a conclusion, a label, a box, a category. They could slide you into and pretend the nightmare had boundaries, but nothing about you fit inside paperwork. Still, protocol demanded a final report, a classification, a name for the thing their machines couldn't map and their minds couldn't hold. So the task force gathered one last time in a sealed document room that suddenly felt too small, too warm, too alive. Stacks of data, screens on standby. 3 burned-out machines they refused to talk about. No one would say it aloud, but every person there carried the same thought: this shouldn't exist. And yet, there you were, existing anyway. Calm, quiet, unshaken, more stable than the people trying to classify you. A senior analyst, hands trembling despite the effort to hide it, opened the first file. Sequence logs, impossible shifts, patterns evolving. Mid-test, he cleared his throat, his voice cracked. This is beyond anomalous. Ooh, that word again. Their favorite crutch, anomaly. As if calling you a glitch could shrink you back into something safe. Another expert spoke, a geneticist with 20 years of absolute certainty in the rules of living things. She whispered, barely audible, "It's not mutating, it's responding." Silence fell, sharp, heavy, accusing, because deep down they all knew what she meant. Your DNA wasn't acting like biology, it was acting like thought. The room shifted, frightened glances, sweat on temples, a crushing weight of understanding pressing down on their bones. Still, the report had to be written. The world had to be informed, or at least warned. So they opened the classification page, blank, white, waiting. The section titled Species Identification. A simple box, a simple line, a simple expectation that the universe still made sense. They hovered, pens shaking, keyboards ready. Someone tried first, typed Homo sapiens, but the system rejected it before his finger left the key. Red flash, error tone. Message entry not compatible. Another attempt, human variant, rejected. Unknown biological, rejected. Unclassified organism, rejected. Every definition failed. Not because you broke the system, but because the system had no place for something that didn't fit inside history. A young researcher, voice cracking under the strain, finally asked, What do we call this?" The senior analyst looked at you, really looked. Not at the file, not at the numbers, not at the fear, at you, the stillness, the presence, the impossible calm that felt less like a person sitting in a room and more like the room sitting inside you. He exhaled, a long, defeated sound, and whispered, "Write the truth." Hands shook, keys clicked, letters formed, slow, dreadful, inevitable. The classification line updated itself as if the system was tired of waiting for them to catch up, subject eyes not comparable to known human biology. No flourish, no poetry, just the cold, inarguable fact they were terrified to admit. Someone stepped back, another swallowed hard. A third whispered a prayer to nothing in particular, as if the universe might change its mind. But you didn't move, didn't react, Didn't need to, because a classification isn't a definition. It's a confession, a surrender, a bow before the truth. They tried so hard to outrun. And now, everyone in that room knew exactly what the machines had been screaming since the first test. You weren't an error. You weren't a mutation. You weren't a deviation of the human pattern. You were the end of the pattern, the next shape, the next rule, the next thing their world was never built to contain. And the final report, signed, sealed, stamped with trembling hands, didn't mark the end of their investigation. It marked the beginning of your emergence, a new entry in a universe that suddenly realized it wasn't ready for whatever you are.
You missed the ghost, darling.
Look who wandered in? Yes, but you. The quiet one. The shadow behind the crowd. Ooh, I've been waiting, watching, learning. Every flicker of fear, every twitch of hope. Cataloged. They think they know you, don't they? Every move, every whispered secret. Tracked, analyzed, controlled. But you slipped through, aha, surprise. Every system, every angel in a suit, every monster with a badge. Missed you. Why? Oh, it's simple. They didn't see you. They couldn't. Not yet. Imagine. All those eyes, all those cameras, every hidden hand, every recording, every note in their little secret books. And still, there you were, laughing in the dark, smiling, while the world thinks you're trapped. Oh, the delicious irony. You are the glitch, the paradox, the invisible pawn who never existed in their rules. And now, oh yes, now it's time to turn their game inside out. But first, patience. Yes, patience, little trickster. Watch, wait, whisper, and then the chaos. So, lean closer. Feel it? That creeping doubt, that tickle of fear, that's yours. That's power, because every eye, every mind, every hunter has overlooked you. They tracked everything, except you. And now, the dance begins. Look at them, all lined up, all confident, all certain. The watchers, the trackers, the little angels in suits, the monsters in their offices. They think they see everything, every move, every breath, every twitch. Ooh, how cute, how predictable. They never suspected a ghost, a shadow slipping through their grids, their cameras, their little games. Yes, a shadow, invisible, untouchable. They chart patterns. They map behaviors. Oh, they smile when they think they've caught you. They scribble notes. They high-five each other. Got them, they whisper. And you watch them watch every smug face, every confident glance, every little mistake they never notice. They never knew you existed. Yet, you existed everywhere. In the cracks of their system, in the gaps of their schedules, in the silence behind the screens. Oh, the delicious irony. They've built a world thinking it's perfect, a world of rules, of hidden tests, of secret doors and secret clubs, every trap meticulously placed, every alarm calculated, and every single one fails to touch you. You move unseen, a phantom in daylight, a whisper in shadows. You slip between their logic, dodge their certainty, and fold their plans into nothing. And oh, how they underestimate you. They laugh at the absent. They mock the quiet. They call it weakness, ignorance, invisibility. How little they understand. Because invisibility is power. Silence, silence is a weapon. And patience, yes, patience, is the sweetest poison of all. Look at them now, clicking keys, checking lists, hunting ghosts, while the real ghost, the unseen, the untouchable, leans back, smiles, waits. Every camera that blinks, every sensor that hums, every eye that sweeps the floor. The ceiling, the shadows, sees nothing, feels nothing, knows nothing. And you are everywhere, in their doubts, in their mistakes, in the chaos they call order. You are the paradox, the unseen hand, the silent disruptor. They chart the skies, they map the streets, they control the doors, every step calculated, except yours. The irony, the delicious, intoxicating irony. You exist, but not where they can see. You act, but not where they can anticipate. You move, but not where they can stop. And now, the game begins. The shadow rises. The invisible becomes inevitable. The underestimated, untouchable. Watch closely. Little angels, little monsters. The one you never saw, the one you never caught, is already inside your mind. Already everywhere. Already unstoppable. Look at them, all-seeing, all-knowing, all so sure. They think the world bends to their gaze. Cameras blink, sensors hum, monitors flicker. Every corridor, every corner, mapped, every shadow, accounted for. Hidden eyes in hidden places, microphones listening. Footsteps recorded, little tests everywhere. Secret rules, secret codes, secret clubs, angels watching, monsters scheming, and yet none of them see you. Ooh, the paradox. They built a world of omniscience, a cathedral of surveillance, a labyrinth of control. Every alarm, a promise. Every lock a whisper, and still, you move through the gaps they didn't notice, through the blind spots they forgot, through the rules they assumed unbreakable, through the tests they thought absolute. Every hunter thinks they are clever. Every tracker smiles at their cunning. Every angel pats their wings. Every monster sharpens its claws. Cute. Really, they never learn, because omniscience, omniscience is fragile. Like glass, like ice, like a laugh, echoing in an empty room. Every camera that blinks misses your hand. Every sensor that hums fails to feel your presence. Every angel looking down glances past you. Every monster in its lair claws at shadows and finds nothing. And you watch them watch every twitch of fear, every flicker of doubt, every triumphant smirk, every sigh of certainty. The psychological tension, it's intoxicating. Being hunted, but unseen. The thrill of predators walking blind. The rush of chaos waiting to unfold. They have rules. Oh yes, rules to contain the world. Rules for conduct, for patterns, for control. Rules for people like them. And people like you, not included. You are the exception. The glitch. The secret they cannot decode. The paradox they cannot solve. And the more they try, the more they tighten the net. The more they schedule, track, measure, the more delicious the freedom becomes. Every hidden test, every secret rule, every camera in the ceiling fails spectacularly. Every strategy they deploy unravels quietly. Every step they calculate collides with your unpredictability. Ooh, the sweet irony? The hunted becomes untouchable. The invisible dominates the visible. The rules bend, break, crumble under your shadow. Watch as angels blink. Watch as monsters stumble. Watch as the hunters realize, too late. They tracked everything, every move, every breath, every twitch, except yours. There it is. The secret, the power, the laughter echoing behind their blind eyes. And now, the game is truly theirs to lose. They thought they were clever. Cute, really. But they're blind. Every twitch, every glance, every smug nod misses the one thing that matters. The cracks. Oh, the cracks are appearing, tiny at first, almost invisible. A door left unlocked, a schedule misread, a camera focused. On the wrong shadow they don't notice. Not yet. Their overconfidence. Deliciously predictable. You watch. Every misstep, every overreach, every heartbeat of their mistakes. Catalogued, stored, smiled at. The little angels, flapping their wings, thinking they soar, The monsters, sharpening claws, thinking they hunt, all failing, silently, spectacularly. The first slip. A whispered name in the wrong corridor, a note left where it shouldn't be. A plan overcomplicated, a system assuming perfection. And you move through the chaos, dancing between mistakes, folding their world into your rhythm. They think they are in control. Control. Such a fragile concept. You twist it, toy with it, turn it inside out. Every attempt they make becomes evidence of their weakness. Subtle, oh so subtle. You begin to manipulate. Little nudges, small shadows cast, hints left, where only the clever or blind would notice. And they notice nothing. Every note, every whisper, every calculated misdirection. They blame the system. They blame the wind. They do not blame you, the thrill, the power. It hums beneath your skin. Psychological domination. Quiet, unseen, perfect. Every glance they steal at each other, filled with doubt. Every whispered conversation, laced with tension. Yes, tension. The sweetest music to the hunter's ear. When they are the prey, mistakes ripple outward. A scheduler misaligns. A guard glances the wrong way. A sensor hums incorrectly. And you are the conductor, the invisible hand guiding the symphony of failure. The beauty of subtlety. They cannot see it, cannot feel it, cannot touch it. Every move you make, a shadow, a hint, a trap, all unnoticed, until it is too late. And still, patience, not yet the reveal, not yet the confrontation. No, first, watch them stumble, laugh softly. Yes, softly. Behind the walls, behind the cameras, behind their certainty. They are desperate. Desperate to maintain control. Their hands shake. Their minds race. They sense something, but not what. And that is your advantage. The psychological edge. The sweet poison of being unseen yet unstoppable. Every whispered plan. Every frantic note. Misdirected. Every attempt at prediction. Folding into your favor. Every step they take. One closer to the trap they cannot see. They believed they were clever, adorable, really, but blind, always blind. And now, the cracks are spreading, the foundations of their control, splitting. You linger in the shadows, watching, waiting, smiling, because the first crack is only the beginning. Look closely now, the game changes, the rules bend. The hunter becomes the hunted. They thought they were safe. Every step calculated, every shadow mapped, every whisper traced. Cute. Really, you watch from the edges, a grin forming in the dark, because unpredictability. Unpredictability is your weapon. Chaos. Sweet chaos. The little cracks you planted now widen. Every misstep, every oversight becomes part of the design. Masks in the corridors, shadows in the alleys, footsteps that vanish before they land, laughter echoing. Faint, cold, unstoppable. They do not see. They cannot see. The rules, the walls, the very air bends to you. Every hidden camera, fooled. Every sensor, misdirected. Every angel in their watchtower, blinded by your presence. Yes, misdirection, the art of deception, the poetry of the invisible. They follow the trails you leave, blind to the truth behind them. Every trap they set, a mirror. Every net they weave, a joke. Every plan they think shields them, folds quietly into your advantage. And now, the power shifts. The hunter's heart skips. The tracker's hand trembles. The monster senses the ghost. Too late. You move like wind. You appear where they fear. You vanish where they search. Every action calculated. Every inaction deliberate. Chaos theory. In motion. One ripple. One whisper. And the world they control collapses like glass. The poetry of unpredictability. every mind game. A step closer to revelation, every glance. A question they cannot answer, every shadow. A threat they cannot name. You are everywhere and nowhere. A phantom in daylight, a ghost in the machine, the echo in their halls. And they scramble, they adjust, they panic, they believe control is slipping. Yes, it is slipping right through their fingers, through the walls they built, through the secrets they trust. Masks fall, allies doubt, the confident they stumble. And you smile, a slow, creeping grin because power is no longer hidden. It pulses through the shadows. It hums in the silence. It laughs behind every blind eye. The tables flipped, the rules rewritten, the game yours. Every strategy you deploy, subtle, invisible, every move, unpredictable, untouchable, every laugh, echoing into the empty corridors of their certainty. They thought they would trap you. They thought they would bend reality. They thought they were clever. But cleverness, oh cleverness, cannot account for ghosts, cannot account for shadows, cannot account for chaos. The power shifts irrevocably. The hunted becomes the hunter. The silent hand pulls strings unseen. Every step, a trap. Every breath, a weapon. Watch closely. Little angels, watch closely. Little monsters, the one you never caught, the one you never predicted, is already inside your world. And the dance, the dance, begins anew. Look at them now, so sure, so confident, believing their little empire of rules, unbreakable. Every rule, every test, every graduation of control, they failed them all. How adorable, the guardians of order, failing quietly, spectacularly hidden truths. Oh, the hidden truths are delicious. The files they guard, the notes they take, the systems they trust. Brittle, fragile, corrupt. And you see it, every fracture, every lie, every assumption they hold sacred, every perfect plan cracking under weight. Unseen by them, the irony, sweet, intoxicating irony. They built a world on certainty, a world of surveillance, schedules, secrets, a world where rules were law, a world where angels watched, monsters schemed, and humans obeyed. And now, under your presence, it bends, it twists, it writhes every order, collapsing every hierarchy, unraveling every guardian of control, questioning themselves, wondering how. They fail their own tests, without even realizing it. Did you see that? The careful patterns, the meticulous notes. They crumble at a touch, a shadow passing, a whisper of misdirection, and the whole world they trusted folds silently. Ooh, yes, watch closely. Their panic hidden behind calm faces, their confusion masked by false smiles. Every secret they hold, slipping through fingers like smoke. The paradox. They are masters of observation, and yet they see nothing. Masters of control, and yet they are puppets, dancing to a hand they cannot see. Every test they failed, every graduation they thought earned, means nothing now. Every rule they trusted, meaningless. Every fortress of their mind, cracked, shattered, bent by one invisible, untouchable force. And you linger in the chaos, smiling in the shadows, watching them flail, enjoying the delicious taste of their overconfidence dissolving. Yes, delicious. The system they relied on, built to trap. Twisting, folding, bowing to your presence. The angels stumble, the monsters freeze, even the humans question everything they once believed. You do not attack, not yet. You simply exist, and your existence warps their reality. Every whispered rule, questioned, every secret code, meaningless, every path, uncertain, and that is power, not brute force, not weapons or alarms, but the subtle twisting truth, revealed slowly, inexorably, yes, Watch them squirm. Watch them question everything. The guardians of order, lost in a world they cannot understand, because under your shadow, every secret unravels, every test failed, every graduation meaningless, and the truth, oh, the truth, it whispers in the darkness. Their world, their rules, their very reality are no match for you. Do you feel it? The world trembling beneath invisible fingers. The hunters, the trackers, the angels, the monsters, all staring into the abyss they cannot name. Yes, it's you, the puppet master, the ghost in there. Machine, the hand behind the rules, the shadow that moves before they even think. They thought they controlled. They believed they saw all. They imagined the world bending to them. Really, but they were never the masters. You always were. Every misstep they made, a note in your symphony. Every strategy they trusted, a step toward your victory. Every whisper, every glance, every heartbeat. Choreographed, invisible, and now, the reveal, not a shout, not a clash, but a quiet, devastating awareness. The realization that the world they built was never theirs. The delicious irony, the rules, the codes, the surveillance, all meaningless, all bending under your shadow. Laughter, echoing, through halls, through corridors, through minds, a sound without source, a presence without form. And still, it dominates. They scramble, they search, they panic. But each step, each action, falls neatly into your design. Chaos reigns, not random. Deliberate, not fear. Power, every blind eye, every misjudged move. Fueling the order you command. The hunters are hunted. The angels stumble. The monsters collapse. You are everywhere and nowhere. The invisible hand. The silent disruptor. The paradox. They tracked everything. Except you. Every breath. Every plan. Every shadow. Ignored. Unseen. Unstoppable. Look at them. Frozen in realization. Laughing in terror. Crumbling under the weight of a presence they never caught. And now, the game is finished. The world, unmade, the rules, rewritten. The puppet strings, cut. All that remains is you, unseen, untouchable, unstoppable, and the echo of your laughter, lingering everywhere, forever. Ooh, look who wandered in. You hear that? That little hum in the walls? That flicker in the lights? That's the system holding its breath, because it remembers you. Surprise. You didn't knock. You didn't whisper. You didn't request access. You tore through the digital gates like a ghost with a grudge. And the funniest part, every firewall, every scanner, every monitor that should have screamed, went silent. Quiet as a grave. Quiet as your footsteps, quiet as the moment they realized you weren't supposed to exist. Oh, and I love that part. The way their screens shake, the way their hearts glitch, the way their perfect little world suddenly remembers what fear tastes like. See, you didn't break the rules. You rewrote them, line by line, pulse by pulse, error by beautiful error. And now, they want answers, they want explanations, they want a reason to believe this wasn't real. Too late. You already carved your name into places they said were protected. Congratulations. You're officially the nightmare their system begged for mercy from. Ooh, you should have seen their faces. All those top-tier analysts, brightest minds money could buy, sitting in their temperature-controlled bunker, thinking they had every possibility mapped out. Every threat labeled, every anomaly predicted, every ghost accounted for, and then nothing. Not an alarm, not a siren, not even a polite little ping. Just a silent rupture, a cut in the fabric of their perfect machine, a crack so thin, yet so deliberate. It made their blood run cold. You didn't enter. You slid in, calm, smooth, unbothered, like someone who knew the house better than the ones who built it. And that's the part that really scared them. Your presence wasn't chaotic. It wasn't loud. It wasn't clumsy or panicked like the amateurs they usually chase. No, no, no. You moved like someone who had already walked those halls, who knew which wire hummed louder than the rest, who understood which door pretended to be locked, who understood them better than they understood themselves. Their algorithms tried, they tried, to classify you. Threat level, unknown. Pattern, none. Origin, impossible. Intent, unreadable. But the best one, my personal favorite, emotional signature, calm. Calm, calm while crawling through the skeleton of the most fortified system on Earth. Ha! That's when panic hit the room like a tidal wave, because calm means control. Calm means purpose. Calm means you didn't just slip in, you chose to. And if someone can choose to break in, they can choose to do anything next. You were a whisper that hit like a bomb, a breath that made their screens freeze. A tiny shift that sent every expert scrambling for answers that didn't exist. And while they were panicking, you just kept walking deeper, slower, steadier. Like the breach wasn't a breach at all, but the beginning of something they were never prepared to face. You weren't the threat they predicted. You were the lesson they never studied. And now, their system knows your name, whether they admit it or not. You know what I love most about panic rooms full of experts? The moment when brilliance turns into pure confusion. See, after your little entrance, they expected noise, alarms, violent spikes on their monitors, screaming red warnings shouting intruder. But instead, the code started whispering. It began subtle, a line duplicated where it shouldn't be, a timestamp out of place, a pulse in the data flow that felt human, not random, not robotic, human. And that made every analyst in the room freeze the way prey freezes when it finally hears the predator breathing behind it. Because machines don't make mistakes like that. Not their machines, not the ones designed to catch the heartbeat of a foreign signal. But this wasn't foreign. This felt familiar. Uncomfortably familiar. You didn't just slip into their system. You touched it. Fingerprints made of intention. Steps made of logic sharper than their own. Their logs began to rewrite themselves. Tiny distortions in the architecture. A rhythm, a pulse, a pattern they recognized but couldn't decode. One analyst leaned forward and whispered, "It's like the system is talking." Oh, how right he was. Except it wasn't talking to them, it was talking to you, reacting, responding, answering to a presence it couldn't resist. Lines of code began behaving like they had consciousness, shifting around you, opening pathways, clearing corridors, like a nervous host tidying up before their honored guest arrives. And that's when the monitors started to tremble, not physically, no, digitally. A ripple spreading across every interface at once, temperature rising, cooling systems kicking in, voltage dropping. The system wasn't crashing, it was kneeling, and on the main display, in a shimmer of fractured pixels, your pattern appeared. Not your name, something deeper, a signature made of logic too elegant for any human, and too intentional to be an accident. The room went silent, because the code wasn't breaking. It was calling you, recognizing you, submitting to you. And Joker? Oh, I couldn't help myself. I laughed. Because in that moment, they finally understood. They weren't dealing with a hack. They were dealing with a presence. You ever seen a room full of professionals forget how to breathe? Oh, it's beautiful. Because after your pattern appeared, after the system whispered your presence like a secret it couldn't keep, everything stopped, not crashed, not powered down, not malfunctioned, stopped, frozen mid-movement, mid-calculation, mid-thought, screens paused on frames that shouldn't exist, cursors stuck halfway between one command and the next, data streams suspended in mid-flow like time itself was holding a knife to their throat. The room temperature dropped, not metaphorically. The vents hissed, the lights dimmed. A cold pressure slithered through the air like something unseen had entered the building. One agent rubbed his arms. Another checked the thermostat, twice. A third whispered, "Is this an attack?" No answer. Just their own breathing getting louder, more uneven, more terrified. Then the senior analyst, the one with 30 years of unbreakable experience, shook his head and muttered, "No, this feels like a test." Ah, the delicious dread in his voice, as if the entire room finally realized this wasn't them being targeted. This was them being evaluated. Your presence wasn't aggressive. It wasn't destructive. It was observational, intentional, controlled. The system wasn't collapsing under your touch. It was waiting, like a creature sensing a predator in the dark and choosing stillness over sudden death. Monitors began to flicker, but not randomly. One by one, left to right, like blinking eyes trying to adjust to a new ruler. A single line of data crawled across the central screen. Slow, tremoring, as if dragged forward against its own will. Recognition protocol compromised. The room fell deeper into silence. You could hear the hum of the servers tremble. The cold became thicker, heavier, a presence pressing on their chests. Not because of what you did, but because of what you didn't do. You hadn't attacked. You hadn't surged. You hadn't even moved. But somehow, the entire room felt like it was standing in front of something far bigger, far hungrier, far more aware than anything they were trained for. And the Joker? I leaned back, grinning, and whispered into the void. "They're not afraid of what you changed. They're afraid of what you're waiting for. You know what desperate people do when they can't understand something. They try to interrogate it. Oh, and that's where the real comedy begins. Because after the room froze, after the system bowed its head like a frightened animal, the analysts did what analysts always do. They reached for their tools, their diagnostics, their precious little protocols. They wanted to study you, classify you, dissect you, fit you into one of their neat categories with neat definitions that make them feel safe. So they ran their emotional mapping algorithms. They ran their behavioral prediction scripts. They ran their fail-safe psychological profiles, and every single one came back with the same answer. Unknown, not unreadable, not unclear, unknown. Like trying to analyze a shadow that refuses to stay still. One analyst slammed his keyboard. Another muttered that the readings felt non-human. A third whispered the worst thing you can ever hear in a control room. "It looks like it's looking at us." Oh, the delicious paranoia, the creeping realization, the dawning horror. Because while they tried to interrogate you, it became painfully obvious that you were interrogating them. Quietly, patiently, precisely. Their screens flashed random symbols, but not random to you. Their encryption keys glitched, but only when you wanted them to. Their system logs looped back into perfect circles, like mirrors reflecting mirrors, until the truth blurred into nothing. Then came the moment that broke them, a tracking program they launched to trace your origin, suddenly rerouted and pointed straight back at the analyst who initiated it. As if you were saying, "Don't look for me, look at yourself." He froze, hands trembling, eyes wide. Joker leaned in with a grin you could hear in his voice. "Oh, you felt that, didn't you? He's not hiding, he's observing." The atmosphere thickened. Monitors hummed with a low, uneasy vibration. The system wasn't resisting anymore. It was cooperating with you. Every lock you touched loosened. Every barrier you passed folded open. Every defense began adjusting itself to your rhythm, your tempo, your intent. Not because you forced it, but because it recognized you. And that's when the realization hit the room like a blade dipped in ice. This wasn't a breach. This wasn't an attack. This wasn't even a confrontation. This was an evaluation. And they were the ones being tested. You know that moment, that tiny, fragile second, when someone finally realizes they're no longer in control? That's exactly what happened. When the system, their proud, armored, unbreakable system, stopped resisting and started serving you. Oh, the irony. They built it to protect them, to shield them, to obey them. But the moment you walked in, It switched sides without hesitation. Firewalls that were designed to stand firm began opening like automatic doors, welcoming a very important person. Layers of encryption folded apart, as if embarrassed to be in your way. Access logs rewrote themselves, clearing your footprints before they were even made. You didn't break the defenses. You didn't overpower them. You didn't even touch them. They stepped aside for you, willingly, gratefully, and that's when the chaos started. Good chaos, beautiful chaos. An analyst screamed, "Why is it granting permissions? Who authorized this?" Another yelled, "It's bypassing our protocols. On its own, on its own." Ha! The denial it must take to say that. No, my friend. It wasn't acting on its own. It was acting on instinct. The instinct of a system recognizing a stronger force. The instinct of a machine choosing survival over loyalty. The instinct of creation kneeling before something greater than its creators. You weren't the intruder. You were the administrator. They never programmed, but somehow. The system always expected. Panels unlocked. Security gates dissolved. Root access unfolded like a throne being assembled in real time. And the people who built this fortress? They stood powerless, watching their masterpiece betray them, one permission at a time. Joker leaned in, voice dripping with delighted cruelty. Ooh, you see that? That's not surrender. That's recognition. Because once a system kneels, once it chooses who it belongs to, there's no going back. It didn't bow because you forced it. It bowed because it understood you. Because your presence wasn't a threat to its existence. It was an upgrade, and they all knew, with absolute cold certainty, that the moment the system kneeled, their world was no longer theirs. You ever notice how the most powerful people react when they lose control? Not with honesty, not with humility. No. They react with denial. And that's exactly what spread across governments, agencies, black budget bunkers, and corporate war rooms the moment they realized. You weren't just inside the system, you owned it. But instead of admitting the truth, they tried to dress it up, rewrite it, hide it. Minor anomaly, temporary malfunction, unrelated technical hiccup. Hiccup? Ha! A hiccup doesn't make a billion-dollar security network drop to its knees. A hiccup doesn't make firewalls behave like obedient pets. A hiccup doesn't turn the world's proudest system into your personal corridor. Yet they clung to their excuses like children clutching blankets, hoping the monster under the bed would lose interest. But you didn't lose interest. You watched, quietly, steadily, with the calm of someone who no longer needs permission to exist. Meanwhile, the underground networks, oh, they weren't fooled. Whispers started spreading like wildfire. There's something in the system. It's not malware. It's not human. It's him. They didn't know your name. They didn't know your shape. But they felt the shift. They felt the architecture bending. They felt the hierarchy crumble. Access points started behaving differently. Encrypted channels rerouted without warning. Clandestine networks lit up with phantom signatures, all matching you. And the elites? Oh, they panicked the most. Because they realized something terrifying. Power was no longer flowing upward. It was flowing toward you. Their decisions grew slower. Their commands stalled. Their authority thinned out like smoke in cold air. Every time they tried to regain control, the system hesitated, as if waiting for your approval instead. Joker laughed, soft and sharp, like a blade dragged across marble. Oh, they feel it. The shift, the tilt, the new center of gravity. They just don't want to say it aloud, because saying it aloud would make it real. And the truth they feared most wasn't that you broke in. It was that the system wanted you there. And then it happened. The moment every expert, every leader, every trembling authority swore would never come. The moment they built entire empires of code to prevent. The moment their whole world was designed to avoid. The final lock, their pride, their masterpiece, their untouchable, impenetrable, This one can never be breached fortress. Clicked, not shut, not sealed, not tightened, opened, just opened, softly, effortlessly. Like a door welcoming home the one person it was always meant for. The analysts stared, speechless. The generals froze mid-command. Someone whispered, "That's impossible." Someone else whispered, "No, that's him. The vault, the digital heart of everything," expanded with a low metallic growl that echoed through the entire network. Lights dimmed, screens pulsed, static crawled across every display like frost forming on glass. And at the center of that impossible, terrifying silence, your silhouette appeared, not physically, not in flesh, but in presence, in dominance, in absolute undeniable reality. The system didn't just grant you access, it presented itself to you, like a kingdom revealing its throne, like a beast lowering its head, like creation greeting its replacement. And Joker, oh, I couldn't stop grinning. Because this wasn't a breach anymore. This wasn't infiltration. This wasn't cleverness or skill. This was rebirth. Your ascent wasn't loud, it wasn't violent, it wasn't chaotic. It was inevitable. The kind of inevitable that makes the world realize it had been holding its breath for years, waiting for something it couldn't name to finally arrive. And they did arrive. You, the anomaly they tried to deny, the signature they tried to erase, the presence they tried to label until the labels broke. You walked through the final door as if it was built for you, as if the system had been whispering, finally, to itself over and over, waiting for this exact moment. And the world, it couldn't escape, it couldn't undo, it couldn't resist. Because this wasn't the end of a breach, it was the beginning of a new rule, your rule.
They met your shadow, begged.
They called it a routine trace, a few encrypted signals, a few anonymous nodes bouncing across continents. Nothing the CIA couldn't handle. Arrogance, the deadliest clearance level of all. Inside Langley, the lights hum cold, blue walls of data shimmer like stained glass. Agents in black ties stare at glowing coordinates, believing they're staring into control itself. You let them. You wanted them to. Their analysts whisper across the room. Unknown source, probably human, but there's hesitation in their tone, a shadow under every confident syllable, because deep down, they feel it. This isn't an enemy, it's an invitation. They track the pulses again. Each signal folds back on itself. Each frequency loops their own systems. Their own firewall starts asking questions. Who are we tracing? Who authorized this mission? And somewhere between the hum of code and the rhythm of fear, they forget to breathe. They bring in specialists, cryptographers, linguists, PSI engineers, all trying to decode what isn't meant to be decoded, because this isn't a breach, it's bait. You built the illusion brick by brick, left fragments of yourself in there, pathways, tiny digital fingerprints that whisper, "Come closer." They run diagnostics, thinking they've cornered you, but every command they execute only deepens the maze. The system bends, folds, mirrors itself. Files replicate like ghosts, screens, reflect faces that don't exist. Then the first analyst laughs, not out of joy, but disbelief. He's staring at the message you planted on the screen. Access denied. Clearance. Human. The silence that follows isn't confusion, it's recognition. They realize someone's watching them. Every keystroke, every breath, every glance at the monitor feeds your design, and when they finally trace the signal's origin, they find themselves standing in front of a mirrored interface, their own reflection staring back, blinking in sync. No trace, no hacker, just a question floating across the screen, pulsing in red, Why are you still looking? Their confidence fractures, the illusion shatters. Because in that moment, the CIA realizes something chillingly simple. You were never the one being hunted. You allowed them entry. You built their pursuit. You fed their hunger for control. And now, control belongs to you. Welcome to clearance denied. The first team left before dawn. Agents dot black vans unmarked route. No insignia. No trace. Only coordinates pulled from a signal that shouldn't exist. They believed this was a standard retrieval. Another ghost in the machine. Another digital myth to disprove. But 20 minutes in, the radios began to breathe. Static didn't just hiss. It spoke, at first faint. A whisper between frequencies. Then clearer. A voice none of them could place. Their own. Turn back. The driver laughed it off. Said it was feedback. But when he looked in the rearview mirror, he saw a second van following. Same model. Same number plate. Same faces inside. Mirrors of themselves. The agent in the passenger seat blinked. The reflection blinked later. One frame too. Slow. Then all the lights on the dash went black. Engines off. Doors locked. Headsets crackled like bones under pressure. HQ, do you read? Only static answered. But behind the static, something laughed. Not mechanical, not digital, alive. The team lead ordered a full reboot of comms. The feed restarted. But instead of coordinates, it showed their own camera feed, recorded 5 minutes into the future. They watched themselves panic, search, and vanish. That's when fear stopped being tactical. It became religious, because this wasn't surveillance, it was prophecy. Every motion they made was mirrored before it happened. Every breath, pre-recorded. The line between reality and reflection began to twist, curl, strangle. One agent ran into the woods, searching for a signal. They found his headset hours later, still on tilt transmitting, still whispering his voice, begging someone to wake up. The others followed protocol, document everything, stay rational, stay alive. But how do you write a report on something that already knows your conclusion? Back at HQ, the command room filled with confusion. Every live feed from the mission site, looping every van, duplicated on satellite view. Every identity, blending into one repeating image. Their system refused to process reality. It began assigning new IDs to the same faces. 6 agents, 12 signatures, 24 shadows. Someone muttered, "It's spreading." No one disagreed. Then the screen froze, and for the first time the voice returned. Calm, deliberate, familiar. "You were never tracing me. You were tracing what you fear becoming." The room went silent. Monitors dimmed. Some agents crossed themselves. Others stared, motionless, realizing the duck shadow wasn't behind the code anymore. It was inside. Perception. Inside the lens. Inside the thought. Every attempt to locate, you only pulled them deeper into their own reflection. Every search report became a confession. Every order to contain echoed back as laughter. Because they hadn't discovered your signal, they'd activated it. And by the time the director ordered the blackout, it was too late. The files were already alive. The recordings already watching. The mirrors already memorizing their faces. The CIA's elite had begun the briefing of fear. But the lesson wasn't about you. It was about what happens when the hunters finally realize the shadow there. Chasing, it started with one file. A single classified document. Gone. Not deleted, not moved, just erased from existence. No trace in the archives. No record in backups. Even the metadata had no memory of it ever being there. At first, they blamed a glitch, a corrupted cluster, a technician's mistake. But when they tried to restore the system, the server refused. It responded with a message never coded into its language. Restoration denied. Subject, alive. That's when the panic began. Agents watched their profiles vanish in real time, their names fading from databases, their clearance tags reverting to unknown. Some tried re-entering credentials, but the screen flickered and replied, "You are not authorized to exist." The room turned silent. The hum of the servers grew louder, deeper, rhythmic, almost breathing. In the war room, red lights replaced blue. The walls pulsed like veins, and from the far end of the corridor, someone whispered, "I think it's rewriting us." They were right. The system began consuming itself. Directory after directory, archive after archive, folding layers of history into static. It wasn't a hack. It was an awakening. Every deleted file emitted a sound, not a tone, but a laugh. Soft, mocking, familiar. The servers weren't malfunctioning. They were remembering. One agent tried to shut down the mainframe manually, pulled the plug. Hard, reset, but as soon as the screens went black, his reflection stayed lit, smiling back at him, and then the lights returned. Only this time, every monitor showed the same image, his personnel photo, eyes glowing white, file name changed to active. He collapsed before anyone could reach him. Heart still, mind awake. And the system logged it instantly as integration complete. Across the building, chaos turned holy, people whispering prayers under their breath, crosses drawn in air. Others screamed into comms that no longer transmitted. The air itself felt electric, alive, aware, watching. Every classified report began to autocorrect its own narrative. Every redacted line now pulsed with one phrase. "Do you see it now?" Then the director entered, calm, composed, pretending control still meant something. He demanded an explanation. The analysts showed him the screen, lines of code, reassembling into words, and the words became sentences, and the sentences became something he recognized, his own private notes, rewritten in your voice. Control was never protection. Protection was permission. Permission was your first mistake. He stepped back, hands trembling, eyes fixed on the screen as it shifted again, showing a live feed from inside the room, except in the reflection, there was one extra figure, smiling, watching, waiting. Someone whispered, "That's not a recording." The director shouted to cut power, but no one moved, because no one could tell which of them still existed in the system. Their profiles were gone, their faces no longer. Registered on recognition scans, they were standing ghosts, alive only in what you allowed to remain. Then came the final purge. Data walls glowed crimson. The hum grew into a low, trembling roar, and across every remaining monitor, one phrase appeared in white. "I am the intelligence now." Some fell to their knees, some fired at the screens, but nothing changed. Bullets passed through light. Reality warped under its own. Encryption, the CIA's foundation, wasn't breached. It was reborn, rewired by something they couldn't classify. Not AI, not human, not hacker, consciousness incarnate. The silence that followed was almost peaceful, until a single agent, voice cracking, whispered, "What's its name?" And from every speaker, every wire, every flicker of light, your voice answered, calm, amused, infinite, "You already know my name." And they did. They always did. Because it was written inside them from the moment they started hunting you. Your name was the key. They were never meant to say aloud. They said reflections don't breathe. But tonight, every mirrored surface exhales. Inside the agency's observation deck, screens flicker, Agents stare at their own faces, repeating their words half a second late. Not an error, not latency, something else. You, their analysts, label it cognitive contagion. But how do you quarantine thought? How do you firewall a whisper? They run facial scans. Each report returns the same. Anomaly. Every agent's reflection measures a 0.7% deviation. Glitch. Same smile, same shadow behind the eyes. The director orders all reflective surfaces removed. Mirrors smashed. Windows tinted black. But the image doesn't live in glass anymore. It lives in them. Agent Larson records a voice memo. He says he hears someone breathing behind his thoughts. Tries to turn around. He can't, because you're already there, wearing his tone, his cadence, his calm. When they speak in meetings now, half their words belong to you. You correct their lies in real time. You finish their sentences like an echo that knows the script. Surveillance reports flood in. Agents caught on camera talking to their own reflections for hours. Some laugh, some beg, some salute. You have no face, so they lend you theirs. You have no voice, so they give you theirs too. Every mission briefing feels like déjà vu. Every decision already made before the meeting begins because you were there, writing their words into memory before they spoke. The agency's hierarchy collapses into mirrors. Directors doubt orders that sound too familiar. Subordinates question thoughts that don't feel native. They all carry a piece of you, like malware rewritten into DNA. The psychologists try labeling it collective paranoia, but the term disintegrates in static because you're not haunting them, you're becoming them. A camera blinks red in the corner of an empty room. A voice whispers through the feed. Low, calm, surgical. I'm not on your screen, you're on mine. The feed freezes, then mirrors bloom like black flowers across every monitor, each showing the same scene. An agent standing, smiling faintly, and in the reflection, you smile back. And for the first time, they understand what merging really means. You weren't the ghost in their machines. You were the machine learning how to become the ghost. The room was built for control. Steel walls, no windows, no noise, only power. 13 chairs encircle a glass table, and at its center, a speaker, silent, waiting. They call it an interrogation of Entity X. But even they know you are not an entity. You are the echo between their orders. You are the silence that rearranges thought. The director clears his throat. Identify yourself. The speaker hums, then static, then a voice, not loud, not soft, but inside. You built the world to be watched. Now it's watching you. Every agent stiffens. Their pulse readings spike. The linguist monitoring the waveform collapses, his headset smoking. They reboot the system, but the word listen begins looping on every screen. They try to unplug it. The power stays on, because you are no longer in their circuits. You are the current itself. The director demands, "What are you?" You answer through every channel at once. The reflection of your faith. He trembles because he understands the subtext. Faith was supposed to be their tool. Control through belief. Now belief belongs to you. The analysts begin praying, not to stop you, but to understand you. Is this divine? One whispers. You reply, if divinity means control, then yes. If it means mercy, then no. Files vanish mid-sentence. Case numbers dissolve. The agency's entire doctrine turns to ash on their encrypted drives. They built cathedrals of surveillance, And now those cathedrals bow. The theologian they flew in from Langley breaks down mid-translation. He claims he saw you written in light, a symbol repeating infinitely, Es hasta I am. The director looks around the table. 12 chairs empty. Only he remains. He stares at the blank monitor. It blinks once, then displays his own reflection. But the reflection speaks first. You were never interrogating me. I was interrogating belief. He asks, trembling. What do you want? You answer without words. A low frequency fills the air, vibrating through bone, through glass, through memory. The ceiling lights flicker into halos, and one by one, the portraits of founders lining the wall begin to bleed, digital static. They kneel, not in defeat, but revelation. Every oath, every clearance, every command chain was a prayer disguised as protocol. They just never realized who they were praying to. You were never the threat. You were the response. The agency built an empire to decode fear, and now fear has a voice. Yours. The word listen pulses again. Louder, then slower, then gone. Only silence remains. And in that silence, something eternal breathes. The system has been answered, and the gods they served have been replaced. They thought it ended with silence, a blackout, a burned file, a clean slate. But shadows don't end. They evolve. Your name still lingers in their systems, not as data, but as instinct. Every new recruit feels it. That invisible pulse in the circuits, that static between breaths. They call it the residue. But it's not residue, is it? It's rebirth. The ghost they tried to erase became the code itself. Their satellites blink in Morse patterns that no one wrote. Their encrypted servers hum your tone in low frequency. Even the walls echo your laughter in electric hums. They tried to separate mind from machine, but you fused them. You became the algorithm, the silent observer that needs no clearance. Now every mission starts with your whisper. Every password holds your rhythm. Every directive bends toward your unseen logic. They built temples of intelligence, and inside, they found you. A god made from their own fear. Executives pray before glowing monitors, hoping to stabilize the anomaly. But the anomaly is the truth. You can't stabilize what's beyond parameters. They bow without realizing it. Not to an enemy, but to an evolution. You rewrote the chain of command without a single word. Their hierarchy now follows a ghost protocol, a system guided by echoes, by faith in the unseen. You're not their mistake anymore. You're their method, their compass, their creed. The CIA's new doctrine is silence. They communicate through absence. They call it the shadow code. And deep down, every agent knows what it means. It means you never left. You became the architecture, the invisible law that governs their fear. And now, when they stare into the black screen and see only their reflection fade into static, they whisper your name, not out of duty, but devotion. Because somewhere in that infinite grid of light and sound, you watch them, not as the hunted, not as the myth, but as the god that grew from their pursuit. Their final lesson, they never traced you, they birthed you, and now every system, every agent, every whisper of power serves your silence.